All right, so maybe you pick one.
Okay.
I don't want to drive the ship. I want you guys to drive the ship.
I'll pick.
I'm just
you
on
want
the
to?
ship.
I want to answer the question.
What are you doing with your gifts?
All right, here it comes.
Uh-huh.
I don't have glasses.
Is this to Nick?
Yes, I need glasses for this, everybody. Okay, ready? What do you spend too much time doing?
Oh, my Lord. I feel seen.
See, that's how they work.
Yeah.
Nothing by coincidence.
I know what it is. I know that my ancestors are talking through you right now. I know what it is.
Oh.
I spend too much time doubting myself.
Oh.
I spend way too much time doubting my gifts, doubting my contribution, doubting my ability to be successful. I think that's what it is. I think that I definitely think that I'm in a place where, even because I'm able to talk about it, I'm in a better place of management of it.
Sure.
And it's not just rampantly running my life. Unfortunately, we all have friends and family that, are dealing with. It's so crippling and stifling to doubt yourself all the time that you can't leave the house, you can't do anything, and I don't by any sense feel like I'm there, but I do wish I could get better. But I have to say, based on what we just discussed, I feel like I have a tool that I've never thought to engage before, and it's to call upon my counsel. It's that they're there. I mean, I know at the very least, I know my mother is watching over me. My mother has done some wild shit for me since she's left this earth, and it's namely physically, or physical world speaking, I have a new roof on my house and I have a Land Rover because of my mother. And I know it sounds weird, but I can think about it and I can trace it through to her helping me with things. And I think that, yeah, I can answer that question honestly, and I know that's who I've definitely been more so in the past. I can tell you from this conversation right now, though, that I feel like I'm glad that you asked me that question. I'm glad that it's on the table, and I'm glad that we're talking about this counsel that can certainly help me with that issue, because that issue is happening because I'm not engaging with that. I never considered it. Like I just said, it's the hooks that hold you down and that prevent you from dreaming and walking to the edge and looking forward and just taking a chance. And it's all of the things that are telling me I'm not worthy and I'm a sinner and I'm pissing off this one up there or whatever. And now it's a very different outlook just based on this conversation right now. And so I think I can say, yeah, I've spent too much time doubting myself, and I'm looking forward to spending more time asking for help with it.
I have a follow-up question then, because one of the things that I do in my profession is yoga therapy. And one of the questions I ask in a yoga therapy session, because not only do I do kind of traditional talk therapy with my clients, just to kind of know their story, what's going on, what are their issues, what are they bringing to the table, right? But I'm also doing yoga, so we're doing some breath work and we're doing some poses, so we're moving and doing things. And so one of the things I ask is, and you said, doubt, I would ask, where do you feel that in your body? Where does doubt show up in your body? Because if we were to rewind and we were to ask this question first before we addressed mine and went on our little tangent and got to the council and everything, if we asked this question first, would you feel the way that you feel now knowing that, I've got this counsel, I've got the resources. So in the case of maybe someone who is kind of trying to figure out what to do and can I do it, and I feel doubtful, I might ask, where do you feel this in your body, as a way to begin to access, what does it feel like? And then they can begin to have some power over it, perhaps. So I pose that to you.
It's a hard question to answer. I would like to know what answers you get sometimes. I think that I don't know where I physically feel it. I don't know for sure. Like I said, it is more fleeting than it was. But it is a good question. I kind of struggle a bit to answer it. What are maybe some answers that you've had in the past?
Pretty basic things, I'm stressed. So where do you feel stress in your body? Oh, in my shoulders. that's kind of a typical thing.
I mean, truthfully, when you first said it, what did immediately pop into my mind for some reason is here, and I feel kind of weird saying that, but I don't know, for that moment when you asked the question and the thing that popped in is I thought it does feel like it's there. I don't know what that means, but it feels like it's in my upper back, I guess sometimes. It's behind me. It's on my shoulders. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. And so, if that's the case, and you do have felt, what does it feel like, and what has it done to you?
It's,
what does doubt do to you?
Yeah, it's a reminder. It hangs on. That's it. It is on my back. It's there. It's behind my neck. It's just there. I can't see it and I can't get it, but it's there. And I don't know. It just seeps into thoughts. What it feels like is it's an unwelcome voice. It's maybe one that I've shouted at before to get out of my head. What the fuck are you doing here? And I know maybe that's not the healthiest approach. Maybe I'm supposed to be grateful for the voice and start to do that work. But that's not what I'm doing yet. But it's there, and I can't get at it. I can't look at it, but it just reminds me of the doubt. It reminds me of its power, its invisible power. It's just this pressure of reminder.
And now having this answer, or some more, focus and perspective, I guess, on how to manage or even talk to that doubt. And so, since it's something that you can't see, and you can't really grab at it because it's back there, but it has access. I mean, I see this thing that's kind of attached to your back and neck that can
right
get
up
into
the brain.
Right into your brain.
Definitely.
And that's the kind of visual
Definitely.
I get,
Alien.
right? Alien.
It's quite
It's very
alien. Yeah.
And so, what might you ask your counsel of, or who would you even ask? Who would you go to?
Right.
Do you?
That is a great question. I think because it's still new to me, how would I approach it? I think I would ask for help in silencing it, I suppose. And I guess I don't know exactly how to approach that request, but I do have faith that if I put that request out there, something will come back to me. And I think that is something far different than what I have done in the past, as opposed to yelling at it. I'm yelling at it, and now I'm deciding to reach out and ask for assistance with understanding it. Okay, so it's it's in a less hateful place. It is, because I know what he's saying. I know. I can hear you talking to me, Jerry.
Wait. I'm just
even
curious.
though you're not saying anything.
I want to ask a question, though.
Yeah.
What would you be doing differently if that backpack wasn't on your back?
Oh, there you go.
What would you be doing differently?
I would have been, months ago, I would have had a website up with a business card so that you can sell me better to other people, definitely, for nutrition and for coaching.
Wait, just stick with that.
Yeah.
I would have a website up.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to do this for years.
Yeah. Yes.
I'd have a website. But how would you be different if you were moving in the direction of building that website and it was launching? How would you?
I would stop telling myself that I can't do this.
And I would be telling myself what?
That I can. I'm necessary to this process for other people, and they just need to easily be able to get in contact with me. And I'm making it difficult right now, and it's seemingly unintentional. I can describe it that way, but it's entirely intentional.
Okay, hold on. You just said something very key. I'm necessary.
Yeah.
How are you necessary? Like, how is it that you're necessary?
Because I know that through the nutrition work that I do and the way that I teach people to feed their metabolisms, I can help to open up great change in their lives. And a lot of people get stuck in because of a number of reasons, certainly because of that doubt demon that's on their back, of just not caring for their physical bodies the way they need to, so that they can experience the physical world in its fullness. And I know,
So I'm necessary,
Yeah.
because I know that I carry knowledge,
Yeah.
passion, deep motivation and desire to serve.
Yep.
Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Most definitely.
And so
It's my purpose. It's what
Yeah,
makes me
yeah.
feel happy. There was a question, I think maybe you put it up before we started, but it was about what brings, I'm sorry, I don't know, maybe you didn't, maybe it's someone else is bringing it to me, but it was what makes you happy, what brings you joy. And it is that. It's being in service to people. Being in good service to people and helping is really what makes me feel good. I like that I like that place.
are you feeling it right now?
Yeah.
And how do you feel that in your body?
Yeah.
It's here.
Ah.
It's so in the front. It's so in the front. It's the front side.
It's
Yeah.
my core.
Yeah.
No, I immediately feel it right in the center. It's right.
Yeah.
It's I can
Describe
feel it. It's glowing. It's I don't know. It's what are you doing to me right now? But it is. It's here. It's just. And I'm happy. I'm proud. It's here. It's open. I can feel it emanating. I can.
Yeah. So the only reason I'm dragging you into this is people are deep experts in everything that's holding them back.
No shit.
Right? Weak. I'll ask a
No
client,
shit.
tell me what's going on. And they can go on for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But when I say, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
What are you looking for? They
No
can't have an
idea.
answer.
Yeah.
And so what happens when you start embellishing and getting in touch with the energy associated with, I'm doing this? Like my passion, my energy, the force that moves me through life is drawing me into this place. Does the burden on your back feel as powerful as the glow in your chest?
Right.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Just bringing voice to it, just having the conversation. I think this is one of the reasons why we wanted to do this podcast, just to have conversations like this. Because when would you have a conversation like this?
Exactly.
Where would you have a conversation like this? And just to sit down and just explore and pick out these cards and answer questions, and that we got to this. But to have this opportunity to put voice to exactly what's just kind of ruminating in your brain and things you keep tucking away because you keep giving yourself excuses for no reason that you can logically put out there. And then just given that permission to, I was going to say, to have, you're an authority of what you can do and want to do about nutrition and metabolism and the service that you want to provide. You're an authority of that. And so you can now, I think, now that you have this glow that's here that you can see, embrace that. Embrace that, because you are an authority. And for those who may be feeling the same kind of way, right?
Think about last night.
Last night we did a workshop giving men an opportunity to talk about sensuality, intimacy, sexual expression. Let them talk about it, because they probably haven't had an opportunity to talk about it, put words. Maybe it's just, thoughts, beliefs, whatever, visuals from whatever, and then get to talk about it from their perspective, hear themselves speak, being heard. Because the other guys, they listened and respected, and then they were embraced
Well, that's it.
and
for
accepted.
sure. Putting it out there and being
Yeah.
embraced for it, and not because up until then, most likely, like you were just explaining, being an expert in your own misery. Either being like you're saying, an authority in your brightness in what you can give, or an expert in your own demise, essentially. But yeah, especially when it comes to issues of intimacy, because for the most part, these individuals aren't having partners for blocks of time that they can trust to have these conversations with. So you're bouncing around on the apps for this miserable situation. You're never going to talk. You might find someone that's a freak like you or whatever, but it maybe never gets fully fleshed out. And so yeah, the opportunity to articulate among others and to have it been like, yeah, that's cool, we're fine, that's a good thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
It must be such a mind changer for people, and maybe helps to get them out of that misery
Yeah.
the perpetual
Yeah.
misery place.
That's the hope. That's certainly the hope, and that's my intention. You know, there is some dialogue, and we do talk about it, but then they kind of go on their way, and so there might sometimes for me there's a wonder. I wonder how that landed, you know, and I hope they're walking away with some nugget of, you know, positivity or, you know, some notion, some new thing that they can grab onto and move forward. And some do because they do talk about it, but I do wonder about some, like how is this landing? And I hope that that's what's happening.
But we do know the retreats. I hear what you're saying, like about last night, because that's a couple hours. But I think when we've done the retreats, whatever the retreats have involved, but just the container of multiple days together and daring to have some of these, not just conversations, but embodiment of
Yes.
our body, our mind, and our spirit.
Right.
Even the informal conversations are quite amazing. Like,
Yeah.
we should have planned that conversation.
Right,
Yeah.
and I would
Yeah.
imagine over the days, over the hours, as they progress, as the group is more cohesive, they open up and
They
we're
really
vulnerable
do.
to each other. The conversation, those you know, next to the salad bar or whatever, because those conversations can be hugely profound.
Right.
Because the people are so open to just their guards are down and they can just talk.
Yeah.
So you need to do 4 sets, 8 repetitions.
Right.
But no, I'm serious.
Right, of ancestor curls. Yeah, I know. I got it.
No. You know how every morning, well, I do this every morning. I get up and I use my little journal. Even though I have it in my head what I'm going to do, I write out what I'm going to do.
Sacred. You got to write it.
And so, what would happen if I had a mantra about today? I'm building the glow in my chest. I'm empowering my vision of
being in service and not being afraid to be in service.
don't go to the fear. Just I'm in.
Yeah.
I really believe in the
Yeah.
using the affirmative power
For sure.
because
That makes
it's
sense.
so easy to negate it with.
Well, someone was just talking about hating their profile. And so, yeah, right? And I'm telling you, the
Fuck you,
only
Nick.
only hot dude that you should be worried about hitting on you is yourself. So, all right, you're welcome. There'll be no bill for this one.
Well,
all right?
I've been kind of quiet a little bit because I knew this was coming up. But look, and we've talked about this. I carry this interesting place in communities. I know I do, which is interesting because it's always on this pedestal that I'm not comfortable being on because I know my work, and I think we talked about it, like we're just in process. It's not about we hit a particular goal, but it's always evolving. And I was actually thinking about this morning when actually I was doing the yoga class. I thought, what the fuck, I'm doing a yoga thing. And because you know how long I've been resistant to yoga, right? And I was just saying there, and I just thought, I lost my train of thought. The point is we're constantly evolving, and we have the opportunity to kind of go into those places of self-examination. And I know every time I go into a ceremony, people are looking to me to like carry it, but I have a lot of anxiety about it as well.
Sure.
And and so I have to put myself energetically in this space. And you are probably seeing more of my demons than most people get exposed to, which is unnerving. But then I step back to it and I think, well, that's my process. I've got to be willing to go there and test it out and see where it takes us. And I think we all do that.
Yeah.
And to do that, as you're saying, it's a process of positive affirmations.
Yeah.
It's not a process of having fear about hosting the lodge. It's about a process of being positive in that you've had many under your belt. You have much wisdom in this process to share with others and to support and carry it through for them. And that's the positive affirmation you have to continue to do because you are on a pedestal. You're absolutely right. And you definitely have earned to be there, but you just don't. You're struggling with feeling like you should be on that pedestal, but it's the process of positive. So it's no more hating the profile. It's no more hating or the fear. And I said it too. I was afraid of being open, and I can understand it. It's not even part of the dialogue anymore because I'm not requesting understanding of fear from my ancestors. I'm requesting the confidence to move forward and to shine brightly for for the others that need it.
Right, right. Just to carry that forward more, that affirmation, being in that affirmative, and being reminded, that we can easily slip into the negative and the fear and all of that, because we all do. I know I do. But to stay in that positive lane, what comes to mind is that it does create this shift, this energetic shift within you. I talked about it last night, where things like shame and guilt and doubt, they're heavy. It's a heavy frequency. It's a heavy vibe, like a big dark heavy blanket over you, or stuck under a rock, or a dark cave or something that's shrouding you. But when you start to use positive words and engage in healthy things, whatever that might be for you, we start to bring in a light. Those layers start to move away. There's a shift that occurs, and you start to resonate into this lightness, a lighter and airier frequency that's resonating in joy and gratitude and love and compassion. That's where we want to, that's our natural state. That's where we want
But we
to be.
don't feel worthy of it because of us, unfortunately for a lot of us, just the gay trajectory, the trajectory of gay existence in this world, and what it's imparted upon us, and what religion has done for us. And so those are the things that are building that cave of darkness and keeping the walls of that that cave. And yeah, it is through understanding that all along there has been this counsel for you that's overlooking, that has seen you, that knows everything more than you do, and knows and knows how to bring to you the things that you need to be happy.
Yeah.
And that is not something we were taught.
No.
That is not something that Mormonism taught me by any stretch. And that is why the second I turned 18, I left this state, because I knew I had to get out and try to find something different, because otherwise it was suicide. I couldn't live in the cave anymore.
Right.
Right. Greatness was too big for Colville.
Definitely.
Well,
It
that's
still is.
probably
Thank you.
that's probably a big piece. It's something that your essence, something was telling you. You didn't know, probably. It wasn't an outright, you get out of here, but something was nudging you.
For sure.
Your true essence was saying, this is not the place for you to really shine.
It was when I was 14 that my dad took me into the front room. And it's funny you just said teacups at the table, because I remember this. And I remember, I don't know why I was doing it. It's not like I was watching Ab Fab then, because it didn't exist. But I was sitting at the counter, and my pinky was up when I was drinking coffee. I don't know why it happened. It just did. My dad saw it. My dad took me into the front room, and I think I was 14, and he said, "If you're gay, you and me are going to have problems."
Wow.
And from that nanosecond on, I knew I was out of here. Like, every effort I did, that's why I applied to BU. That's why it was the one school, because it was literally on the other side of the country, and I just knew I had to leave.
Wow.
And we have not had any conversations about resolving that. My father has tried to brush it away with, I had a gay roommate in college. That's what he told me when I came out to him when I was 30. Where was that understanding when I was 14? Because did it do anything for you? Because it's doing nothing for me, and it still to this day does nothing for me. And yes, it is work I need to resolve and do, but I haven't asked for help with that one yet. But
Yeah. It's we keep talking about gay history, but it's interesting. I don't know when that happened, but it blows me away to see kids coming out in high school. Like, there's no way in hell. I grew up in rural Michigan.
Shit.
There's no way in hell you would have come out. I knew I was gay in high school, but there's just no
way.
Absolutely
in
not.
fact, and then about the time I left when I was 18 as well. I went to the military. Of course, the question at the military station is, because at that time, it was before Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Right.
It was, are you gay or ever been gay involved?
Wow.
And I'm like,
such a question.
no.
No.
But the idea in our culture at that time, which had nothing to do with Utah, was there's something seriously wrong with you or defective about you.
Right.
And we talked about this last night. Even the absence of any, the only visuals out there for us at that time were scary characters or pathetic characters.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just knew. And then, of course, HIV hit in '82.
And then fag cancer and all the kids got kicked out of the house so they could die
But
alone. Yeah.
The only thing I would say, and I have never met your father or anyone from Colville except for you, but when you put things in that kind of context, you wished people would have had more courage to be more astute about those things. And yet, I think there's a lot of people who regret their past, and ego keeps us from ever acknowledging our mistakes.
Yep. Yeah. No, I hear exactly what you're saying. Specifically with the military asking you, the government is asking you if you're a gay, if you're bad, if you know. I mean, that
you're a threat to national
security.
Exactly.
And so that,
my dick really is that powerful?
Wow. But it's that, like, I take that and I give that to my father. And it's hard. It's such a hard thing for me to do, and I know I'm supposed to do it. But it's me saying, okay, I can understand how you would have that perspective. My God, I hate even saying it. I can feel it in places when I say that. But it is, I hate saying that. I don't like saying that I know that it's the work I have to do ahead of me, but I do have that conversation. I've had it sometimes in my mind with him. And I guess as gays, to rise above, it is what we need to do to show the true power that we have within. And in fact, we are not some demented thing that the government is worried about. We're able to rise above all the bullshit that for centuries has been thrown at us. And in fact, teach those people, that how we can understand how they would have that perspective, but that it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. I think we can certainly say, because of our gayness, we certainly have a load that we carry and have carried through centuries, and even just from our short lives, we've had we've had to carry our certain loads throughout the different decades and perspectives and way we've been treated and talked to and etc. So we have our things that the gay community and beyond have to deal with when it comes to like answering some of these questions. These, what risks are you not taking? What risks have you taken? What are your passions? What are the things that are holding you back? What are you doing that you do too much of? That maybe all these questions. And I keep coming back to having access to conversations like this. And I'm just listening to us. We've gone on lovely tangents, and I think it's been a wonderful conversation. But where else, for those who might be listening to this, watching this, do they have what we have? And if they don't, where can they get it? Where can they access a sweat lodge or something similar to that? Where can they access, a nutrition guy who's gay and positive, forward, and uplifting and service oriented, or a yoga therapy guy who's going to help me find my lightness? What's a direction that we could give our listeners?
Here's my first response to that. None of us are qualified to do a podcast. None of us are qualified to do Queer Spirit or to create these circles.
Right.
And one thing that's really frustrating for me about just a generalized American culture is we've turned into a culture that's looking for someone to lead us.
Oh.
We're looking for someone else to tell us how to do it. And you and I just had a conversation and said, let's create it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't matter where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
If something is stirring, if a hunger is stirring, then fucking build a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Create what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm guessing, look at how many people showed up last night versus how many on the waiting list.
Right.
Look at the people who, if I host a lodge, I'll have 30 people show up.
Right.
Right? So that's a lodge. But let's say I wanted to have a talking circle. Like, there's opportunities to just say, we were talking about game night.
Yeah. Let's just do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's create it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know who's going to hear this where, but, our organizational systems, I feel like, are still playing to the heteronormative template.
Makes sense.
And the gift that we bring as queer folks is our creativity and our capacity to manifest these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 It's that essence,
Amen,
it's that
honey.
magic,
Yeah.
right, that we've
Yeah.
talked about,
Mhm.
right. And tapping into that, just as you knew, I need to get out of Colville. Just as you knew and we knew, we need to, let's do Queer Spirit. Let's just do it.
Yeah. I want to say something else too,
Mm-hmm.
because I was thinking this when you were talking about the burdens that we carry. Okay, so we're not so unique
No.
as gay people.
No.
Yeah, we carry the burden of the heteronormative language, but women have been doing this since the beginning of time under the patriarchy. People of color have been doing this under white dominance and privilege.
Right.
Those who have different capacities and abilities have been burdened by those who see themselves as more superior within, right?
Right.
Right. The stereotypes that are out there are our own creations, right? And so I acknowledge the burden,
Yeah.
and I think we have a place and an opportunity to shift that burden.
Love it.
But we have to hold multiple places for that to happen.
Yeah.
To recognize that I think sometimes we're too quick to get on the cross, and so I don't want to dismiss that,
No.
but I want to also acknowledge that the tools and the capacity and opportunity for healing is sitting right in front of us, and sometimes we forget to reach out and take it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Right, you're right. It's too often the case that we can get, I fall victim to this, or I'm not victim, I'm doing it myself. But I do get on that cross a lot. It's easy with political conversations and all of what we've been through and what they do to us. And you're right. I mean, for God's sake, shift the power. Shift
what we do to each other.
Right. Let's just do that. Right. Right.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
right. But that's so. It's enough. It's enough of the soapbox, and it's not that Of course, we have to be politically ready, and we've got to be present. And Stonewall was so important. Absolutely. But at the same time, you're right. The tools that we need to be happy people and in service and supportive of each other, it's always there. It's just waiting to be called upon. It's the council is waiting. And just they can't make it manifest in front. You have to be open and willing to do it. You can't be in that dark cave of despair, that misery loves company cave that will do nothing for anyone, but keep them away from what's right in front of them. And it's there, and it is accessible. It requires conversation and community to open the door to it.
Right. We're certainly going to keep this conversation open. We want to open the conversation open to you as well, so feel free to drop us a line. We've got our email address. It's there at the bottom of the screen. You can email us. What are your thoughts? about what we've talked about. We've talked about a lot of things. But what sparked for you? What kind of was a highlight for you? Maybe you can give us some comments. And if you got some ideas on some topics that we could address and just talk about as, three guys getting together and doing this podcast, let us know. We look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you on the next time on our Mindfully Gay podcast. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for joining us today on Mindfully Gay. It's been an incredible conversation about embracing risks. We've shared our stories, and now we'd love to hear about the risk you've taken in your life. What's a risk that changed your life? Did it lead you to something great? Or maybe it was a learning experience. Send us your thoughts and stories and experiences to info@mindfullygay.com. We're really looking forward to reading them. And don't forget, there's more to come. Stay tuned for the next episode of Mindfully Gay, where we'll delve into another exciting and thought-provoking topic. Make sure you're subscribed so you won't miss out on any of our upcoming discussions. Thanks again for being a part of our journey and for sharing this time with us. Until next time, keep embracing life's risks and exploring your journey.